jazz music. He loved playing it and he loved listening to it. And some of his favorites were Miles Davis, Charlie Parker, Ahmed Jamal, Earl Garner, Earl Klugh, Joe Sample, and of course, Herbie Hancock. And I remember when my father used to come pick me up, he used to drive a Champion motorhome. And you know what? I think he drove that as a daily driver for a while. Um, and every time I would go into the motorhome, he always had WJZZ, the jazzy one, playing on the radio. And I remember that so vividly. And it's like we don't have really a straight ahead jazz station anymore in Detroit. Well, we have WDET. I don't know if they play a lot of different stuff though. And yeah, I just remember that time. As I mentioned, one of my father's favorites was Herbie Hancock. And it's funny because back in the 80s, when I was a kid, he put out a song called Rocket. And Rocket is not a jazz song at all. It's really more of a hip hop song. And when I first heard that he recorded it, I was like, Herbie Hancock, wait a minute. Is that the same? That can't be the same Herbie Hancock my father told me about. That's a jazz dude. And then my friends didn't know who he was, but I did. I knew who he was because of my father. The quote unquote instrumental that the band is playing is All Blues by Miles Davis. Who doesn't know that? But Dad was a multi-instrumentalist playing piano, bass, and drums. He's playing bass here, of course. Dad always played his up-tempo boogie-woogie version of All Blues on his Fender Rhodes 73. In fact, I believe that's his here in the video. I also recognize the chord keyboard on top there. going through this tote of mostly my father's stuff. He's got some songbooks in here. Um, adult preparatory piano book. Okay. Yeah, I need to go through here and play some of this stuff myself. I studied music throughout elementary school all the way through high school. But I played the trumpet / cornet in school. So I know how to read. Um and of course when you learning how to read playing that kind of instrument, you don't get to play chords on the trumpet. So I never learned how to read chords, so to speak, but I could tell you, I could look at key signatures and time signatures and stuff like that. Um to kind of figure it out, and then like if I'm playing the piano, I can pretty much, figure it out, the chords on the piano. Um but it's something I really need to brush up on because I usually the stuff that I play, I usually play by ear. I don't, you know, figure out the types of, chords and stuff like that. Yeah, my father liked Errol Garner. In fact, I know his favorite one is in here. And that would be, let me look at there it is, Misty. Yeah, my father used to play this song, I swear. For a while, he must have played this song every day of his life. I used to wake up um, just about every day that I spent time with him. He'll be down there on the Spindle Roads playing Misty. Oh, wow, all blues. Another one of his favorites that he played all the time. He loved Miles, man. He loved Miles Davis. I always wondered if we're related some kind of way. I'm sure we are. We go far back enough. All blues. I remember he used to play a boogie woogie version of all blues, and it was like and I'm like, what is that, Dad? And he's like, that's all blues, and I was like, not the all blues that I've heard before, because he used to play it on his upright too, and on his bass fiddle, he used to call it, and I'm like, that don't sound like all blues, but he kind of explained to me. I guess he can kind of figure. I guess he can kind of figure. Hey, I don't think my son is getting what I'm telling him. He's not picking up what I'm putting down. So he went on to explain to me that it was the same, um, basically the same chords and the same key and everything, but it was just a different way of playing it, you know. And he explained it the best way he could to a 7-year-old. And I'm still sitting up there like, I'm 7 years old. What do I know? I noticed I got a little bit of my stuff mixed in here too. Billie Holiday. Yeah, he was a fan of Billie too. I remember watching Diana Ross play her in Lady Sings the Blues. Had that on VHS tape. I remember watching it at the house. The Lady Day. Okay, jazz rock voicings, contemporary keyboard player. For the contemporary keyboard player. You could tell by the design of this book, this is like 1960s. Look like some psychedelic, stuff. Let me see if it's got like a date of publication in here. It was actually 1974 copyright. Okay, well, not that far out of the 60s. Ugh. Let's see. Oh yeah, got some. All right, interesting. Okay. Oh, okay. My father used to teach. Didn't mention that he was a teacher. He was a lab technician for many years, and he decided to go into teaching. And he taught at Cooley High in Detroit. And okay, he's got some music in here. And yeah, I think he taught at a few different schools. I think that was the school he taught at the longest. I know he did his student teaching in different schools. He did some subbing and stuff like that as well. I remember, and hopefully I could find a picture, but I went to school with him when he was teaching at Central High School, which is not too far from where I grew up. And he took Yamaha DX7. He took one of the drum machines. I think it was the Roland, not the Roland, but the Korg DDD1 drum machine. I think was the one we had at the time. And he took that big PV mixing board, which I still have. I have the drum machines too. And I got the Yamaha DX7. I'm going to have to clean it up a little bit. Last time I powered it up, it still worked. It's kind of dirty though. I'm going to have to clean it up. But anyway, and we did like some of the kids in his class was very talented. He wasn't teaching like a music class or anything, but he had like an open day um where the kids could just have fun, took in some microphones and stuff like that. We actually played Push It. And this one of the kids had he was playing it on a computer. I don't know if it was, I don't even remember what the program was. This was back in the 80s. Ooh, I was still in high school. This had to be around 86, 87-ish. And he was playing the actual keys on the computer keyboard, playing a synthesizer sound. And I came in with the we was killing it. I don't think we recorded it though, because I don't remember making a recording of that. We was in there jamming in the classroom, and I had the drum machine. I put the program the beat in there, and I got a picture around here somewhere of that day. Now, what is he doing with a trumpet book? My father never played trumpet. He did play saxophone, or tried to. I'll never forget that. Um, he bought a saxophone, and he was kind of self-taught. And I remember he used to practice in his motorhome. He had a Champion motorhome back then, and it was parked like right next door to the house. And he would be out there playing his saxophone outside in the winter. I remember it was freezing cold out there, and he was in the motorhome playing the saxophone. Cause I was looking for him. I'm like, where my daddy at? And I guess he didn't want to. He didn't want to disturb the rest of the house, the rest of the family, like my stepmom and my stepbrother and stepsister. And he was out in the motorhome. It was almost like Ola, my stepmom, was like, "Look, you can't have all that noise in here," because he wasn't that good. He could play the other stuff. He played piano and drums and keyboards and pianos and bass, and he was good at that. But he wasn't that good on the saxophone. Some drumsticks. Funny thing is, when he passed away, I couldn't find his drum set. I don't know if I got some remnants of it. This is a Zildjian cymbal, I think. Crash cymbal. I actually used this on a couple of recordings already that I've done. relatively recently. It's funny how I have like a drum machine sound or using, sequence drums. Oh, this is the Zildjian hi-hat. Bottom hi-hat. Bottom part of the hi-hat. Bottom cymbal. I don't know where the top is or the hardware or anything. So I don't know if he pawned it or sold it or what, but I couldn't find his Fender Jazz bass either. He didn't have that anymore. I was like, oh man, I really wanted that. But I do have his upright bass. His bass fiddle, as he called it. So yeah. That's just a glimpse of some of the keepsakes that I have from my father. Dad allowed me to express myself musically at an early age by giving me access to drum machines, keyboards, and even drum kits. And he also influenced me by me just hearing him play bass, drums, and piano. And I remember one time my wife Belinda asked him if he had taught me how to play. And my dad said, I didn't teach him anything. He just does it. And that was a huge compliment. I was a little embarrassed in a way because he didn't realize that what I was doing, I was trying to mimic him. Although I wasn't trying to play jazz music, I was trying to rap and be Prince Jr. But that's another story. But um, he didn't realize that he had a huge influence on me. And although he might not have sat me down and said, okay, this is how you play an F sharp minor 5 chord, these are the notes that make up that chord or nothing like that. But if I heard him play it, I could probably listen to it and kind of dissect it and kind of, you know, um, separate the notes to know how to play it on the keyboard, on the piano. So it's just being around him and being in that environment of music all the time. Every time I spent time with my father, there was always some music playing. It was jazz music playing. It was either him playing it, or maybe he was playing a record, or maybe we were hearing something on. Again, WJZZ, the jazzy one.
The falling leaves drip by the window. The autumn leaves, red and gold. I say leaves, the summer kisses, the sunburned hands, girl, I used to hold. Since you went away, the days grow long, and soon I hear old winter song. But I miss you most of all, my darling.
I remember back in 84, 85, 86ish. I was about 15 or 16 years old. I was recording the song called This Is the Future. And it was just basically just me um, with this robotic voice saying, This is the future. It's time to hyperactivate. whatever that means. And all I had was a drum machine. I had the Sequential Circuits drum tracks drum machine. That was the first drum machine that my father bought. And I remember I was recording that song, and my dad was in the kitchen frying something, and it was probably pork chops because he could do a mean pork chop, and you can actually hear it on the recording. You have to really listen. Maybe put on headphones, and you could probably hear like this the sizzling sound in the background, and that was actually him making a cameo on my hit record.
This is the future. It's time to hyperactivate. 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 This is the future. It's time to hyperactivate.
Dad would always want to hear what I was recording in his living room studio. Literally, we recorded in the living room. And I remember one time I played him a song. He was, kind of like, "Oh, let me hear what you did." And sometimes it was kind of embarrassing because I was just goofing off. I really wasn't doing anything serious. But I did do this one song, and still to this day I haven't named it. And I was basically in the living room, and I didn't record it direct. I remember I played the Korg monopoly synthesizer, and I used the drum tracks, sequential circuit drum tracks drum machine, and I just recorded it with like a boombox recorder. And so I didn't record it direct into the board or anything like that. But I still have that tape, and here it is. Dad and I actually collaborated. He wrote a couple of Halloween joints. One was called The Monster Bump, and the other one was Hey Witch. And I programmed the drums, the sequential circuits, drum tracks, drum machine, and Amp Fiddler, rest in peace, actually played keyboards on both songs. I wasn't able to find any recordings of the full songs, but I do have the drum beat for Hey Witch. And take a listen. See, my dad had this idea that he was going to send these songs to Disney and have them recorded and make a bunch of money. Well, the songs were so whack. I'm sorry, I just have to say it. Oh my God. Um, but his idea was to um send it to Disney. Disney would like it and maybe use it in a movie or one of their presentations or what have you. And they actually wrote them back, and they said that they have their own writers and stuff. Um, so they rejected the songs. And I'm like, man, that would have been something if Disney would have liked that. I don't know. You might have made some people mad. Oh man. Dad also wrote a song that I think he sent to Disney as well. It's called Halley's Comet. You know what that's about. And I remember he literally made me participate on that. Um, and it was like it was whack. It was whack. And he found a recording of my stepbrother. He had a song that he recorded, an instrumental, and he asked him if it'd be okay to use it. He gave his blessing, and he wrote Halley's Comet. And it's crazy because I can remember some of the lyrics. It started out, it came from outer space to the universe. Came from outer space to the planet Earth, or something like that. It's Halley's Comet. It's Halley's Comet. I can't do it no more. It was so whack. But and my father, oh my God, my father was frustrating me so much because he kept messing up, and we must have did like 30 takes. And the main problem was he kept saying Halley's Comet, and then it's Halley. Well, a lot of people say Halley, and he kept forgetting that it's Halley's. We had to keep doing it over again just to get that part right. And I remember one time he kind of got something caught in his throat, and he kind of coughed, and he had to do it over. That was a disaster, and I think, man, I love my dad, but I was like rolling my eyes the whole time. I want to play video games or something. I'm gonna make some beats, and I gotta sit here and do this thing. But yeah, that was kind of funny. A couple of years or so before my father passed away, I let him hear my song "Crazy" that I was working on, and he gave me another huge compliment. He said he really liked the song, and it had everything that a good song should have. And he started naming different elements of the song, and I don't even remember exactly what he said after that because I was so I'm sorry. I was so touched by that.
I will go where you want me to. Say what you want me to say. Teach me how to be a man of God. And even when the world is going crazy, seems like the world is going crazy.
I became a Prince fan at a very early age. In fact, my stepsister says that when I first heard "I Want to Be Your Lover," I asked her, "Who's the lady singing?" I don't remember that, but I believe her. Um, my father wasn't a big Prince fan at all back then, and for good reason. I mean, Prince didn't exactly do the kind of music that my father liked, um, but he knew how much of a fan I was, even at 10 years old, 11 years old. So he actually bought me my first Prince record. It was the 1999 album. I was 12 years old. And I remember him taking me to Bad Records in Detroit/Southfield. I think it was on 8 Mile and Greenfield area. It's Green 8 Shopping Center. And he asked the guy, "Hey, is this record clean? And the guy was like, yeah, yeah, this one is clean. And I was like, whew, because I already knew the album. I had already heard it. And I guess compared to Dirty Mind, that album is clean. But what really got me is my father was like, okay, well, I just don't want him listening to any of that having sex in the backseat of a car music. And I'm thinking like, okay, he don't know nothing about Lady Cab Driver. And you know what part I'm talking about. And apparently the guy at the store didn't know either. And also, I guess he didn't realize that the number 1 in 1999 on the front cover is what it is. And if you don't know, you must not be a Prince fan. And if you really want to know, check it out. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's pretty obvious what it is. So my father, he also bought me my first tickets to Prince concert. It was actually the Triple Threat tour. It was 1999 tour / Triple Threat. It featured Prince, The Time, and Vanity 6. And I remember that concert like it was yesterday. I was in a daze the whole time, from beginning to end. And the concert was at Joe Louis Arena, April 8th, 1983. We sat in the 26th row. And it was like too much for my 13-year-old mind to handle. It was just crazy. I was literally like in shock and a daze the whole time. And yeah, that's some good memories. One day, my dad heard me playing the song 9 by Madhouse. And he was like, who's that? It's got kind of a Coltrane feel. And I said, oh, that's Madhouse, Prince's group. He was like, oh, shit. It was like, he was kind of interested in what it was until he found out who it was. So yeah, he wasn't cutting Prince no slack. Oh man. I remember I went to visit my dad one day and he was like, Brian, come check this out. He popped in a VHS tape and it was the Bat Dance video by Prince. And he was digging it. And I was like, okay, so he liked Prince a little bit now. But at the same time, I'm thinking like, at that time, Prince had been out for like a decade already. And I'm like, all of that music that he put out over the last decade or so, and Bat Dance is the one that impresses you? I'm like, that's just crazy, man. I'm like, there was this one little minor thing that Prince did. It was called Purple Rain or something like that. I just thought that was interesting because I never seen my father enthusiastic about Prince before. And he was digging that video. He was digging that Bat Dance.